This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome, everybody, to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today, we have a great neighbor on with us, and that is Brandon Brillinger of City View Urban Farms. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Sean. How are you, man?
I love the checkered outfit. Total Canadian move. I'm jealous I'm not wearing something like that. And how cool would it have been if we showed up with something like that?
That would be pretty epic. Yeah. No, this is typical, Brandon fashion. Just a flannel and t-shirts and jeans. That's what I rock on the daily.
Love it. You got the bee in the background too. Did you put that together, or is that just random?
Oh, no, that's just been there. It's kind of like part of like the, just part of my office stuff.
Nice. Well, that worked out.
Sure did. Yep.
Love it when a plan comes together, right?
Yeah.
So we had the chance to meet early last year. I've seen you at a couple of networking events, but it's been a while. And So as curious as I am to want to know and get some updates, I'm sure our listeners are as well. So let's dive into it and tell us about your business.
Yeah, sure. So again, my name is Brandon Brillinger, also known as your friendly neighborhood farmer from City View Urban Farm, where I grow and sell microgreens for a bunch of local restaurants and home delivery subscribers in the Simcoe County area. That's basically what I do on the daily. It's become my full-time job since 2020 now, so it's been pretty great.
So microgreens, it's starting to become a thing where people get educated. It's a little bit more widespread, but the health benefits are absolutely insane when it comes to this. Do you want to maybe share your knowledge on that so people who are listening can get a bit more of a clear picture?
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you brought that up because not a lot of people know how nutrient dense these microgreens are. A lot of people think they're just like a garnish on the plate and they kind of push it aside, but like they have up to 40 times more nutrients than the fully grown vegetable itself, right? Like if you compare, say, 1 ounce of broccoli microgreens has more vitamins, nutrition than a pound of broccoli. So they're pretty mini, but they're very mighty, is what I like to say.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of decide to get into doing this? Like share your story and how it came to light.
Of course, yeah. So before being a farmer, I've been in the restaurant industry pretty much all of my working career, working my way up from dishwasher all the way up to a head chef, transferred into many different roles within the restaurant industry itself, like bartending, serving, front of house manager, and even consulting. I've helped build and design a bunch of different restaurants in Barrie. And then moving forward, I was always into using the best ingredients possible, as that chef background that I have, and always searching for really great ingredients to put on stuff, things that are a little bit different, but also very healthy for you. In 2018, I was kind of going through my own health journey at that point, and really deep diving more into growing my own food. I came across microgreens, of course, and started reading up on how, beneficial they are for your health, and found out how easy they are to grow. Like it only takes basically, up to 2 weeks from seeding them to harvesting them. 14 days, you're ready to go. So they're fast and full of nutrition. And yeah, so once I found out how easy they were, I started growing them for myself and for the restaurant that I was working for at the time. I, provide here and there. Then 2020 hit and the world shut down. As being in the restaurant industry, that was pretty hard for that industry as well as a lot of other industries as well. Took a pretty big hit, but I have a young family, as you know, and losing my job off and on like 2 or 3 times within a year was very unstable, right? So I had to kind of create something that would provide me a steady income, and I went straight into growing microgreens. I remember when they announced it. It was um, March 17th, 2020.
Yeah.
Everyone was locking down. I was putting the final touches on my little grow space, covering the walls with plastic, setting up my rack, and it was go time. From that point on, I was growing microgreens for home delivery subscribers. That's how I started. I basically hit every neighborhood and around my area, handing out flyers. It was contactless delivery payment options. I would grow healthy microgreens and drop it right to the door every week, and that's how I started out. Now I'm servicing a bunch of different restaurants in the area. Um, Still have the microgreen subscription going strong, and getting into a little bit more moving forward, wanting to get more into education and helping people do this for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, education is such a big thing, right? Knowledge is power. And once you start figuring this stuff out, that's where the light bulb goes on, where you're like, oh my God, I definitely need to incorporate this into my, my daily, weekly routine. And they're so versatile. Like, for people who don't know, maybe share some of that knowledge on, some things that you would mix in microgreen. Like, you could put it on sandwiches, you could put it on salads, but like, what else can you incorporate it in?
Pretty much anything. Like I've I have this one home delivery client. She's a really good friend of mine, uh, and she always texts me like little pictures of her favorite snack is just like um, crackers with like cheese and micro cilantro on it, and she just like mows down on that. That's one of her favorites. But I have people doing it like smoothies. Definitely like green smoothies are fantastic. You can even use it as a condiment. I make a really awesome sunflower guacamole or a pea shoot pesto, which is fantastic. Little spoiler alert: there may be a recipe book coming in the future.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they are very versatile. You can use them on anything, and I do put them on absolutely everything. It's like Frank's Red Hot. Like I literally put them on everything: hot dogs, tacos, pizza, whatever, anything you can think of.
So I'd be curious to know, from the people you interact with, are there like any misconceptions or myths about microgreens?
Um, I wouldn't say any misconceptions. I think it's just a lack of education around what they are. Like
I
a
kind
lot
of
of
figured that
people,
much.
yeah, a lot of people just think of it as like, a garnish on the plate, like some parsley or something, and they just kind of dust it aside and eat their meal. But it is a really complex component to the dish, right? I work with a lot of chefs one on one and give them recommendations on, certain flavor profiles of the microgreens that would accompany their dishes. Like I was working when I started doing a bunch more different radishes, like a daikon radish. I do like a red rainbow radish, which is really cool. They're like a beautiful like purple and white microgreen. But I was working with this one restaurant, and they weren't too sure how to use it. So I said, "Do you put cracked pepper on like a steak or something like that?" And they're like, "Of course we do." I said, "Why don't you just omit that cracked pepper, add this on top of it as well? It's going to make it beautiful to the eye, and it's going to give you that peppery flavor as well." And they're like, "Okay, great." So that's how they use it. I try to
Beautiful.
provide as much of that kind of like guidance for my customers, and also just regular people that ask me questions when I'm out networking and things like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. So how did you, okay, you climbed the ranks to get up into chef. How long were you chef for?
Uh, like head chef, uh, um, at two different restaurants, I became head chef, and it took me a little while to kind of climb up. But I'd say I ran their kitchens for a couple of years, both, and then kind of transitioned to like a management style. I just really loved the that industry, like the service industry. I love creating a very welcoming and hospitable atmosphere for people to enjoy themselves and their date nights and whatever. I just wanted to provide the best experience for people. So yeah, definitely trying to find my way through that. It took a while to kind of climb the ranks, as you said.
Yeah, I'm a big foodie myself. My significant other ran restaurants. She's been an entrepreneur her whole life. Her and two girlfriends at 22 years old ran a restaurant for like almost 6 years. So, you know, when we're cooking, we're cooking.
Yeah.
And you know, for her, she really has a palate. I like to say I have a palate, but I know I don't have it to a level where, like someone like yourself, to be able to find these flavor profiles and know what mixes well. I know how to cook, and I could cook some stuff, and you know, I'll follow recipe books that tell me. But to make something from scratch on my own, would just say, hey, here's, you know, a couple of these things, and especially if I've never had them before, don't know what they are, it would be incredibly difficult for me to put something magical together.
Mm. It takes a lot of time and experimentation that way. Yeah.
So you mentioned that your dad, you've got a nice, lovely family, young family. I would imagine that's going to incorporate into my next question. But when you're not growing microgreens and helping bring that nutrition from farm to table, pun intended,
Yeah.
what do you like to do for fun, man?
Uh, Definitely, I am a nature lover, as you can see with the Canadian plaid here.
Yeah.
We do like going out for hikes in and around the area. My girls are just starting to get in, you know, a bit better on their bikes. So I think maybe this year I might try to take them out on a trail or two. I really like mountain biking, so I'd really like to get them into that as well. And we can all go together, do some trail rides, but definitely hiking, just being out in nature. Um, yeah, hanging out in the backyard, gardening, obviously, gardening. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I spoke about this twice on the show yesterday. Felt like I was repeating myself because both my guests came on and they're like, yeah, I was like, what do you like to do for fun? They're like, I love gardening. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm going to tell the thing all over again.
Yep.
Big fan as well too. Yeah, my mom converted me. She's always been into gardening. And then of course my significant other, she is a florist. So obviously loves things that grow. And we just finished putting together our whole backyard. We mapped it out, planned it out. I got a little greenhouse that's outside now. So we just put everything from into seed. So that's starting up. And I have, I think, 7 boxes. I'll have, oh boy, 6 potted vegetables on the deck. Like I was supposed to scale back from last year. And then, you know, we put it all together and now I've got almost double of what I was supposed to have. I'm like, well, what am I doing? I know what it was like. It takes me 45 minutes alone to water the gardens if I don't have help because we do rain barrel water. So it's just like, what am I doing?
Hey, with the price of, you know, fresh food these days, you might as well, you know, take on that extra gardening, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots that goes into that, right? I mean, price is one thing, but I started looking at it differently about 1.5 years ago. I started more looking at it from a therapeutic standpoint. I mean, that's where I was getting a lot of information. People are saying like, "Oh, I love to do this," and I'm like, "How come I don't feel that way? Like, this is a lot of work." Well, I wasn't dedicating the time in my schedule to say you're going out and you're doing time for you and your garden, and I started doing that. And I notice when I don't give myself that time, so it feels a little bit more rushed, and you're just trying to get it done for the sake of getting it done instead of actually going out there to feel like you're nurturing the vegetables as well as giving yourself a little bit of time as well too, and kind of take a break from, you know, the busy world that we live in.
Yeah, it's almost like meditative, right? When you're sitting in there in your garden, you're in the soil, you're doing your thing. It kind of helps clear your mind, right?
Yeah, I know for sure. I equate that as well to when I go out for a run. I run like 5K, and you just go out there to clear your mind. You get the same thing from doing the gardens as well too. It's and then I started talking to him as well too. Supposedly that shit actually works.
Oh yeah, for sure. You got to talk to the plants.
You talk to your microgreens?
I do. I may play some music for them every so often as well.
I had a guest on the show yesterday. She's like, I actually play music for them.
See, like my wife thinks I was crazy doing that, but it's a thing.
Yeah, there's probably a couple people on the show that going, "What the hell are we listening to right now?" Yeah, we got trails just around the corner from here, so we like to go and I run in there, and we want to go get a couple of e-bikes. My sister lives like 5 minutes around the corner, and my parents are like a 10-minute drive, so it's about a 25-minute bike ride. Just be able to get out. I'm really looking forward to enjoying the summer a lot more than I have in years past. And we had a mild winter, but just, I don't know, mentally from everything going on, it's just going to be nice to enjoy some weather and kind of just take a break. We're gonna do a lot of camping this year. We like doing a lot of that stuff. So every long weekend, we're pretty much going up. I'm going up to Sudbury this weekend, and then we're going back in 2 weeks after that for the long weekend, and again back in September. So it should be a lot of fun. Get out there in nature. Really does some good things for the soul.
Oh yeah, big time.
Does your wife like to cook?
Yeah, she's actually a really good cook as well. She would, she can hold her own in the kitchen, but she definitely relies more on recipe books, whereas I can just look in the fridge. What do we got? Okay, look it up, throw it together. Here we go.
That's what I was saying earlier about just like looking at a bunch of different shit, and then putting, next thing you know, you got like a tomato puree going. It's like, oh my god, how'd you do that?
Yeah, but no, she's just really good. So we do share some of the cooking responsibilities around the house.
It's always nice when you got your better half to be able to help, especially if you're doing something together. Next thing you know, you got magic on your plate and it stays consistent every time. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, totally.
Especially with a few microgreens on there too, eh?
Oh, always. There's always microgreens on the plate.
So sometimes in life we don't necessarily get to, we pick and choose a path, that we go on, and then you even mentioned a little bit in your case with COVID hitting, things happen, life happens, and it'll pull or push or turn us on a different path. And then we're kind of stuck on that path, or we get dealt, a deck of cards that we're forced to play. And this is where, as human beings, we run into hardships, we run into life challenges. And I've always been fascinating at the resilience that people have, and trying to look at the glass half full, finding silver linings and being able to mentally push forward from that. Sometimes it's a little bit more serious where it's something tragic, but still, having that ability to push forward, because we have to push forward. It's a pretty wild thing. And so I wanted to ask if you've ever had a life challenge, a hardship where you rose above that, and maybe some silver linings through that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of have to push through some sort of resilience from time to time. And definitely for me, it was that COVID lockdown period. That was what I say is my origin story. That's my silver lining. That's how I built my business. I was always, working for someone else and building somebody else's dreams, but I took it upon myself to really dig down deep and find a way to create my own business, and stuck through it and pushed forward. Once things started opening up a bit more, it made it a bit easier. And yeah, I've been going strong ever since, for 4 years now, going on 5, and adapting to the changes in just the industry and things like that with my life circumstances. Like I kind of hinted earlier, I'm kind of moving the farm into a little bit more of an educational role over the next year. I want to start hosting some like workshops on teaching people how to grow their own microgreens, like on the countertops. Incorporate a little bit more of like my tower garden aspect as well. I'm a distributor for tower gardens also. So I'm really trying to educate people on, growing food on small scales, and taking that responsibility into their own hands. I do have a cookbook coming out in, oh gosh, I'd say a few weeks. Really, it's gonna be like just after the May 2-4 weekend. It's gonna be launching.
Sign me up for
that. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, cookbook. I really want to educate people on more microgreens and small scale gardening, like I said, with the workshops. And I'm in the background working on a course, like an online course, to help other people that want to get into microgreens, how to start their own microgreens business, like on a budget, basically. So they can
Cool.
get up and running, basically with $1,000 and start making money right away.
That's very cool. Excited to talk to you on the flip side about that. Since the last time we spoke, Jeff and I meet a lot of people, not just through the podcast, but through networking, stuff like that. So I think I got a couple connections for you. It'll help advance you in the right direction there.
Cool.
So what's one thing that you wish our listeners knew about your business?
Just how easy it is to grow food. Like, it doesn't take a lot of work or resources, especially with microgreens. Really, all you need is you can use a takeout container, a little bit of soil, and some seeds, and it takes 14 days, and you have some nutritious little greens that you can start eating right away. Yeah, it's not hard.
Yeah, I went to Liquidation Nation. I was walking up and down the aisles looking for a birthday gift last year for Julie, and I found this little the small grow tower. It's got just 6 slots in the light.
Oh yeah, the countertop ones.
Yeah, like the basil and the dill, it's like 2 weeks, not even. And it's, we got to take it out or if we're not using it. So we actually just potted both of them because they're getting out of control. Like it does not take long at all. And that thing's self-sufficient. You just wait for the red light to go on. You fill it with a little bit of water. It tells you when you need to add the little food sample into it. Like, it's so easy to use it, and it just sits there and it's like on almost all the time.
Yeah. That's just like my tower gardens too. I got like 30 things growing right behind me over here. Behind that screen is basil. I've got a bunch of cucumbers, strawberries growing in there, and a bunch of lettuce. So
nice. Yeah, it's so nice. The fresh lettuce. Like, my mom's got a tower garden, and in the wintertime, like, go over there for salads, and you get the good olive oil and then just homegrown lettuce. Like, man, what a salad. I could eat that all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, definitely there's going to be some people who are interested in wanting to reach out, learning more about everything that you're doing. It's a very trendy topic, and definitely people are interested in wanting. I think that's more of a sustainable future for our race. The more people that can learn this simple craft, the better we're going to be as human beings and as a society. And so for those who are interested, what's the best way that they can reach out to you?
Probably on Instagram is the easiest way to reach out to me, at City View Urban Farm on Instagram. I do have a website as well. If you want to check out, there's some information on there. It is going to be under construction over the next little bit, but it is still going to be cityviewurbanfarm.ca. You can check me out there. I will be posting more educational stuff. I'm going to be adding a blog to there as well. So just moving more into education and reach out and ask me anything.
Rock and roll, brother. Well, nice to catch up with you. Phenomenal conversation. Absolutely love what you're doing. We'll definitely hang out outside of this, grab a beer, and get in the garden together. Thank you very much for coming on and doing this, and looking forward to doing this down the line.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com, or call 705-413-3775.